Is it Christian to believe that vegetarians are weak? Well, what does this mean then? Why is Paul talking about this? And he says in Romans, "For one believes he may eat all things, but he who is weak eats only vegetables." Well, let's have a look at this. To see this in its correct context, we have to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 8, where this is discussed in detail, I believe, about Christians who were eating meat and Christians who were not eating meat. This took place in the early church. After Jesus was gone, Paul was helping to spread Christianity. He was in contact with a couple churches, Pergamum and Thyatira. I hope I got that right. They were having an issue there to do with eating meat that was sacrificed to idols. The Romans, the non-Christian religions, etc. There was plenty of meat sacrificed in temples, and take parts of the animal and burn it in an altar, and then the rest of the meat would be returned to, and even sold for domestic use. Some of the new Christians had come out of the non-Christian traditions and non-Hebrew as well. They had eaten meat that was sacrificed to gods, and this upset some of the other new Christians. And they're saying, "What are you doing eating meat that's sacrificed to a small g god? God, the Christian God is one God. We can't eat this meat." Some of the Christians were okay with it. For them, it's like, "Oh, it's no big deal. We'll eat the meat. I'm not worried about it." I mean, we know there's no gods, because that's what Paul said. He said something to the extent that, of course, we know that there are no other gods. There's only one God. It's our God. So these other gods are nothing. So if we're going to eat this meat, it doesn't really mean anything. But we have these new converts in the church, and to them it's very upsetting. So Paul said that, okay, you know what? I'd be willing to even give up meat altogether to just not upset or confuse these new Christians. We don't want to upset the church here. So that was his advice to the church, to stop eating the meat that was sacrificed to the idols. It's not necessarily he was saying be vegetarian, because they may have been able to consume meat that was not sacrificed. And this is the subject of other videos I'm going to have as well. To degree or extent do we know that early Christians were not eating meat? There's a lot of interesting data there. No, Paul was not saying Christians were weak. When he was talking about weak, he was referring to these new Christians who were weak in the faith. This was just a terminology he was using, or that it's been translated into our modern day language. If anyone ever tells you that Paul said Christians who eat vegetables only are weak, Paul did not say that. In fact, he was saying he would even just totally quit meat, just for the sake of not upsetting the fellow church members, and to be respectful that to them eating meat that was sacrificed to the other gods that they used to worship before they became Christian was really difficult for them. And even if their older, more experienced Christian brothers said, don't worry about it, these gods aren't real, it's not enough, it doesn't help them. So it was a nice thing that Paul was doing, actually. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed that. There are lots of other Bible references which I will be getting to, and I hope you tune into my next video. And if you like my videos, please leave a thumbs up. I appreciate the support. I have another channel too. I have a few vegan channels. One's called Vegan Funny, which I'm just getting started, and it's going to be just a comedy centered, kind of silly, because I like funny stuff. And then my other channel is Vegan Tastes Good, which is more centering on my vegan family, the 5 of us, and our life as vegans, and a lot of recipes, and some fireside chats type things, discussions, and that's going to grow over time. And of course, the Spiritual Vegan is the 3rd vegan channel I have, and sometimes I'm going to disperse these videos and put it on a few of the channel. Thanks for watching. See ya! Eats on... Okay, I'm going to read that again. For one believes he may eat all things, but he... Shh, quiet!